Brian Williams from the Mid-Ohio Regional Planning Commission, and I'm going to make a big show of putting on my T-shirt for the day. We've had a couple of questions about economic development, and Julia talked about farmland preservation, and I'm going to try and tie the two of those together a little bit, because there's a lot of interesting state and local tools to preserve farmland. Your county comprehensive plan, some of the state programs, but farmers know the best way to preserve farmland is to make sure farming is profitable, and we believe that local food is one avenue toward that profitability. And so at Morpsey we put together this 12-county Central Ohio local food assessment and plan. Why did we do it? Well, there's a lot of health reasons, a lot of land use reasons, and a lot of good economic reasons. Ohioans spend $43 billion a year on food. In the 12 Central Ohio counties, we spend a little over $7 billion on food. Estimates suggest that the vast majority of those food dollars go out of state, with produce, fruits and vegetables, and meat and dairy products and eggs. All of that factored in. We're guessing that roughly about 3% of what we eat in Ohio was directly produced in Ohio. Some of the commodities, we may end up eating those later, but they're kind of processed elsewhere. And those food dollars don't totally stay in Ohio. If we eat more Ohio-produced food and build up the local food infrastructure, process and distribute all of those things within Ohio, that's going to create more jobs. That is going to. Commissioner Doom was talking about some of those dollars rolling over. Yes, we want as many of those food dollars spent by consumers circulating and recirculating in the local economy. That's going to create jobs. It's going to put more money in the pockets of farmers, and out of the pockets of their farmers and into the pockets of local merchants. We want to keep those dollars in Ohio, in Central Ohio, in Madison County. And what we tried to do with this plan is a little bit of a roadmap on it. We decided a while back, okay, let's do a regional plan to promote local food. Well, in order to do a plan, in order to plan for the future, we got to get a good idea of where we are now. So we kind of started with an assessment. We had this working group, and we reached out to a lot of other people to collect some data and get an idea of how much local food we're producing in the region, what we're doing in terms of processing and distribution, and what are the trends in the consumer trends in consumption of local food, and that's just not just buying at farmers markets, but buying at grocery stores. Our grocery stores featuring more of this, our restaurants featuring more of local food. There's a long way to go, but the trend is definitely everybody's doing a little bit more of that. So we did this overview of where we are now, and then came up with identifying what are the barriers to expanding this, expanding production, processing, distribution, and consumption. Based on those barriers, we came up with a series of recommendations and a little bit of timeline for that and plans. And on the recommendations, some of them are focused on farm-related things, increase the supply of local food. Agriculture cooperatives will help on that. Looking at changes in food safety standards, farm practice that can extend the growing season, get the next generation of farmers. We want to expand the local food infrastructure, increase the processing capacity, better distribution, and encourage local businesses that use local food products and maybe create sauces and salsas or canning, freezing, preparation of food. There's some of the recommendations deal with improving the viability of farm food businesses, removing policy barriers to a local food system. Sometimes we may have land use policies or health policies that are well-intentioned and a good idea, but they may have some little side effects that affect local food production or other local food businesses. So we want to increase the understanding of local food and its benefits. We love seeing county boards of commissioners, taking a stand. We believe in agriculture. We want to see more local food, and maybe adopt policies that definitely encourage that. And then we had the Central Ohio Area Agency on Aging, which is looking at consumer access, making sure citizens in need have access to this fresh local food. So our range of recommendations covers pretty much the whole gamut. We'd like to see a regional kind of a food policy council, our food system council, and we'd also like to see maybe that type of council in every county. That doesn't mean 12 councils for the 12 county region. Some counties may want to kind of pair with another county. Up in the Morrow and Marion County are thinking maybe they might want to do it together. But we want to see things at the regional level and at the local level to really encourage this. And when I talk about pushing for more local food, I don't expect somebody who's got 800 acres or 1,200 acres of corn and soybeans to suddenly rip that out next year and do 800 acres of tomatoes and peppers. That's not going to happen. But the owner of that farm may have kids, and the next generation say, well, hey, they want to carve out a 20 or 30 acre parcel of that and grow local food, or that farmer himself may want to do that as kind of a hedge against the uncertainties of commodity prices. That's just a little bit of diversification. So there's a lot of different options that farmers can do. But the other thing we have to keep in mind, and this gets back to the whole processing infrastructure thing that I talked about, is we need to very often for the farmer, this is maybe a little bit of an exception because these are growers selling directly to consumers. Not every farmer is going to do it that way. Some farmers may. For them, the customer is not the direct consumer, but the processor and distributor. So we want to see more of the processing and distributing. We want to see institutional buying, our schools and colleges and universities and state agencies and the prisons to buy local food, and that creates a market for those farmers. So those are a lot of things we cover in the recommendations here, and at the state level, the governor has a statewide food policy advisory council that I serve on, and I'm promoting a lot of those issues here. So if you want a copy of this, talk to me about it later. I have some extra copies, and I'd be glad to share those. I'm glad to answer any questions right now. Yeah.
Just listening to the radio and the newscasts, sometimes I get the feeling that legislatively and politically there's more competition between food growers in the state of Ohio than those actually promoting that. So what is your group doing to watch out for the food producers to make it easier for them to market their products instead of being confronted by all this current political activism that's going on in the state?
Right. It's been a hot day. I think, and I'm guessing you're talking at least in part about maybe the smaller and organic and locally oriented farmers and the larger scale commodity producers, and there is a bit of a disconnect. I believe there's really room for everybody. I don't want to I don't want to see any farmer put down what another farmer's doing. There's really room for all of it. There's a need for all of it, and we need to play nice together. And what we need to do is create more opportunities. And I think if we have more opportunities and everybody's doing well, then there's less likelihood of some of that friction.